All right, let's take a look at the local dailies in depth now in the start of Taifa Leo. Vigogo, Mlimani, Wahepa, UDA. Kinyume na awali ambapo tikiti ya UDA ilipiganiwa kaunti za Mlima Kenya, sasa wazito siasani waikwepa. Anasema zoezi la kusajili wawaniaji katika uchaguzi wa mwaka ujao linaloendelea la chama tawala cha UDA limeonyesha kudidimia kwa mvuto wa chama hicho katika eneo lenye idadi kubwa ya wapiga kura la Mlima Kenya. Wanahamia wapi? DCP?
Yes, wanahamia wapi? Unajua sasa it was expected that most people would defend their seats using UDA. Some of those who are yet to register, 12,000 people have already registered, 149 for governor's races alone. But out of the 149, remember we only have 48 counties.
Yeah.
47, 48 again, 47 counties. But so far they have 149 people who want to be governors through UDA. But those who are already governors, like the governor for Murang'a, Erongo Kangata, the governor for Kiambu, Kimani Wamatangi, even the chairperson of the party, Cecily Mbarire, who's a governor of Embu, are yet to register. That's all they're saying. They're yet to register as aspirants. So probably wata register baadaye. But pengine pia hawata register, hatujui.
Yes.
Ndio wanaitwa vigogo.
Swali ni wanaenda wapi, lakini habari iko katika ukurasa wa pili, tajisomea.
But give it to them. Cecily Mbarire was actually present there as a chairperson of the party. Even if she hasn't registered as an aspirant, she was present at this meeting.
Vidokezo zaidi, pendekezo wabakaji wahasiwe laibua mjadala mkali nchini. You remember that, what was it called? The Nancy Baraza...
Chemical castration.
Yes, that panel ilikuja na chemical castration. That's what they're talking about. Watu wamesema hapana. We don't want that chemical castration because of reasons like labda mtu alikuwa falsely accused.
Yes, and there are quite a number of those.
Yeah. Sasa wanasema kwamba pendekezo la jopo kazi kuhusu dhulma za kijinsia la kuanzisha adhabu ya kuhasiwa kwa kemikali kwa wahalifu kwa makosa ya kingono wanaopatikana na hatia limezua mjadala nchini, huku wataalamu wa afya, wanasheria na wanaharakati wakitoa maoni yanayokinzana kuhusu athari na uhalali wa hatua hiyo. It can't be reversed. Wewe ukipatikana uwekwe upate chemical imeenda.
Ikienda imeenda.
Utawahi tena. Kiti moto cha afisa mkuu IEBC Marjan afuata nyayo za Ezra Chiloba na James Oswago waliondolewa ofisini katika hali tatanishi. Mwanawe Gaddafi auawa Libya. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, mwana wa rais wa zamani wa Libya Gaddafi, apigwa risasi. Kule juu, maswali kuhusu mgeni wa Rais Ruto katika ikulu. Licha ya maswali mengi kuhusu uadilifu wake, Bwana Wicknell Chivayo amekuwa mtu wa kawaida katika ofisi kubwa zenye mamlaka, akitangamana na watu wenye ushawishi mkubwa. Ni habari katika
ukurasa. Lakini muuliza, ni lazima wapigwe picha naye? Kama kuna maswali kuhusu integrity ya mtu, lazima mpigwe picha. Because ukiangalia kwenye magazeti na I think it's one of on the Daily Nation tutaangalia. Amepigwa picha nyingi na rais, picha moja tu inatosha. Kwani kila siku ukienda kutembea lazima upigwe picha? Hata
wale watu 527 wanapigwa picha wanaweka pale. Mbogo na Omar kumenyania tikiti UDA. Vigogo hao watapigania tikiti ya UDA kuwania ugavana kule Mombasa.
Ile swali lingine tatanishi, sababu unakumbuka ile swala la zoning. ODM ndio anashikilia Mombasa ugavana. Sasa Secretary General wa UDA anataka kuwa gavana wapi? Mombasa. ODM anasema tunataka kila mtu akae kwao.
Interesting.
Gazeti la Taifa Leo. On the Star, Marjan ouster, IEBC 2027 mega contracts in the spotlight. Central to the fallout is a KIMS tender valued at 7 billion shillings. This paper continues with that conversation following the sacking or the resignation. Either way we call it the exit of Hussein Marjan from the IEBC. A very interesting story here. On the front page, Rastafarians, listen to this, are lamenting blocked bid to present bang in court. Hata wamekuja sana. Unajua bangi Kenya is illegal. Lakini wanataka kuileta kotini. Wewe umetoa wapi bangi?
The audacity of hope.
This one not just because of suggesting unafaa upelekwe kotini wewe mwenyewe. Kuna watu wanasema itakuwa tamu ikiwa legal. Lazima ifichwe. Ndio ile unaambiwa tu unafichwa kama bangi. Lazima ufiche. Anyway, picha iko hapo mbele. Rastafari Society of Kenya member holding cannabis seeds. Okay, sio bangi yenyewe at Mlimani Law Courts in Nairobi. You can read this story on page 3 of the Star. Then, a picture of a massive crowd at State House. Over 12,000 people dressed in yellow, like my sister Anne today. Wame-cement grassroots, walija State House even ndindi. Okay, fine, we've been seeing parliamentary group meetings at State House, elected leaders at State House. Never have we seen this kind of number of people. 12,000 at State House. 12,000, hiyo ni kama stadium mzima ya Nyayo Stadium. Raring to go. Ati wengine walikuwa nakaa ni kama sio watu halali hao wenyewe.
Huyo mtu ako out of order.
But it's a very interesting story because can you imagine if you can start, these are people who want to be aspirants in your party. 12,000 people already wanataka. Isn't this a head start for the leader of that party?
It is.
Yes. Other stories, ODM moves to scuttle Uhuru and Kalonzo changes in Azimio. Nakumbuka ile return of Azimio jana. Imeleta shida. Watu wamekasirika sana. So this is a star, but I think the most interesting story ni ya Rastafarians. Wanataka kupeleka bangi kotini. Tunaomba tukubaliwe tuje na bangi kotini.
I agree, yezi bamba.
That's a star.
Daily Nation, queries on Tycoon State House visits. Controversy, opposition leaders link the man to supply of suspect poll kits in Africa. Homage on January 11, controversial Zimbabwean Wicknell Chivayo flew to Sagana State Lodge to meet President Ruto and his deputy Kithure Kindiki was the latest of many visits to Kenya's corridors of power by the flamboyant businessman notorious in his country for a previous money laundering conviction. Chivayo's dalliance with Kenya's top leadership has raised eyebrows. This newspaper, inaangalia the background. It says in a previous interview published by the BBC on June 22nd, 2025, the wealthy businessman describes himself as a hardworking hustler.
Rudia tena, hardworking?
Hardworking hustler with a Midas touch.
Kabisa.
The report says for years...
Kwanza, kitu ingine, Midas touch. What does it do? Midas, whatever he touches, turns to gold. So kuna mambo ya dhahabu hapa na kuna uhasla pia ndani yake.
Now the report says for years Sir Wicknell, as he calls himself, has loved to boast about his riches on Instagram, although the sources of his wealth is not clear. In his 2011 memoir, Cry Havoc British Machinery and coup plotter Simon Mann recalls his time with Wicknell in Zimbabwe's Chikurubi maximum prison.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sahi hayuko prison, sahi anapanda ndege, anashuka State House ya nchi kadhaa na kusalamiana na watu wakubwa wakubwa. Wameka picha zake nyingi. If you open page 2 and 3, ndio nauliza lazima apigwe picha kila wakati akitembea. Si washa kuja mara moja akapigwa picha, hiyo story imeisha.
Where evidence kwa karatasi. Important. Questions surrounding his integrity and a money laundering conviction aside, the controversial businessman is now a familiar face in the corridors of power, hobnobbing with the high and mighty. Wako hapo wote on page 2 and 3. Other quick headlines: Matters Health, planned chemical castration of sex pests stars debate. We've talked about it. They say that proposal has sparked intense debate with medics, lawyers and human rights activists giving sharply differing views. Bigwigs shun UDA in Mount Kenya as Ruto hosts thousands of aspirants. The registration of politicians for the 2027 contest by the ruling party has exposed its dwindling fortunes in the populous region. Students avoid arts and languages in senior school. Kwa nini? Lessons no one wants, and some public institutions have enrolled only 2 or 3 learners in languages and creative arts subjects at senior school, with the low enrollment raising doubts on the viability of the classes. Only 2 or 3 learners.
In some schools.
In some schools.
Yes.
Lakini hata kama ni some schools, hebu imagine 2, 3 learners, shule mzima,
Yes.
arts.
I think eventually they would have to bring special schools for social sciences and languages so that they can bring all those learners together. Nafikiri kila mtu alikuwa anataka kwenda kufanya STEM. Sababu sijui ameambiwa kufanya STEM utakuwa nini. Kazi ni nyingi, sio lazima ikuwe STEM.
All right. On the inside pages of the Daily Nation, page 4, Marjan sudden exit with the 2027 elections looming leaves IEBC at a crossroads. They say last month, Kalonzo Musyoka led the united opposition's push to oust Marjan, warning that the 2027 elections could be neither free nor fair under him. On the back page of this newspaper, glory and the hard way how Lakers club claimed African crown. And that's the Daily Nation.
All right, from the Daily Nation, we focus on the Star Matters ODM given prominence on the front page, and this is the only story here. ODM cracks Deepens. Orange Party is trying to straddle power and opposition, and the law may not let it. As quiet talks with President William Ruto's UDA gather pace, legal experts warn the party is trapped in a binding marriage to Azimio that it cannot simply wish away. This will affect that coalition building with UDA. The maneuver has ignited a brutal internal war, pitting a pro-government faction eager to cut deals with State House against diehards fighting to keep ODM from sliding into political submission. With Uhuru Kenyatta reshuffling Azimio, ODM risks tearing itself apart. They're still officially part of Azimio, and that's why Junet Mohamed got his position in parliament. Sasa sababu wamechange, Junet Mohamed alitolewa kwa hiyo position by Uhuru Kenyatta. Kwa Azimio, he is not there. So they can actually appoint someone else to that minority leader position in parliament.
Wow.
Wanasema, meanwhile munakimbia kujoin UDA. Nani aliwaambia? Ngoja. That's the front page of the Standard. It's the only story on the front page. Other quick stories inside what happened in State House yesterday. That IEBC story, the exit of Marjan, is on page 2. Mambo mengi, not so fast your mambo ya ODM. At least there's a coverage of the drought crisis on page 5. Na kuendelea mbele, let's go to the back page. Arteta backs Arsenal to build on magical place in Cup final. Arsenal now knows that they will be facing Manchester City in the Carabao Cup on 22nd of March at the Wembley Stadium. That's the Standard.
All right. People Daily, between empowerment and enticement, will Ruto's project swing youth vote? Buying a block is the question they're asking on page 4. Present youth projects, imekuwa mentioned pale, the reason to end Nyota Fund is there. Much more financially inclusive fund, popularly known as Hustler Fund, is also there. Kenya Jobs and Economic Transformation, Youth Enterprise Investment Projects, among others. And of course, Affordable Housing Fund is also there. On the top strip rather, Marjan's exit shakes IEBC, what it means for trust in elections. And City Hall race heats up as Pauline Njoroge joins the fray.
Yeah, Pauline Njoroge is now an aspirant for the governor's seat. Interesting. Finally, Business Daily, APSA eyes Kenya's buyout in race for retail market, matters business. So South Africa's ABSA Bank, ile ilikuwa inaitwa Barclays, is now exploring plans to buy another Kenyan lender in a move that would help it grow its share of the retail banking market. Remember, there was also NCBA that was bought by another South African bank. Sasa tena ABSA inataka kununua ingine. Kidogo hatutakuwa na banki yote. Anyway, hapana tutasema hiyo. The group CEO says banks exploring acquisition options, South African lenders seeing growth opportunities in East Africa. They've seen an opportunity, so it's not a bad thing. How flash disk mix-up cost China firm 29 billion shilling railway contract. Flash disk tu. Aka confuse flash disk, akachukua the wrong one. Contract ikapotea. Pole kwao. On the ticker, AGOA extension deal signals tougher trade terms for Kenya. Elsewhere, investors gain as Nairobi Prime Office occupancy rises and falling interest rates slowed pension returns to 24.8%. That's the Business Daily. Once again, a reminder that our panel this morning, Ikua Wambote, who's a political analyst, Rachel Omolo, who's been here with us before, she's a public policy and governance expert, and Dhumbi, a nominated MCA, and Dr. Josephine Kulea, who's a political analyst. In a few minutes' time, they will be helping us take a look at the headlines. Later on,
Men's mental health, we'll be having this conversation starting 8 a.m. Is be a man killing men? We'll be having this gentleman here to have this conversation. Tuangalie cartoonist wanasema vipi.